tell you all about it.
That was real good. That was money, first of all.
Let's do another.
What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight. This is the Real Review 3000, and it is another Mandalorian roundtable a little later than normal. Crazy Christmas time things, you know. I don't know. I was somewhere and this hat just showed up on me. Just crazy stuff like that. So,
hey, I got a hat too.
You do, but you do. Excellent. So,
holy crap! I just noticed that.
Bear has a hat too, but his is more the evil, like voodoo hat type stuff, which is cool.
No, that's just a Grateful Dead version of Uncle Sam Wants You.
I know.
I ran it through some filters and made everything just go pop neon.
It looks good. It looks better.
I like it.
And we are honored that you would join us. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, but
I do have a hat.
Oh, there you go. The
Phantom Menace hat.
Yes.
Nice.
So, we'll just make it about us right now. We're going to talk some Mandalorian. We're going to talk about episode 7. Ooh, yes, Doomcock. We're going to talk about episode 7, and we're going to talk about how I'm pretty sure there's several of us in this group right now that are extremely happy with episode 7. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh, you're right, man. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's go do some quick first takes on what we thought of episode 7. We'll start with you, Bear, and go.
Well, you know, the whole scene where they start out, and I just want to point something out. Me and Tommy were hashing some things over and taking some notes. You know where they plug in the computer socket?
Mm-hmm.
That's not where the computer socket is. They broke canon. Yep. You got the 2 arm bars that open where R2's arms are at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, next to that, to the left, is a rectangular up and down panel. It opens at the top. That's where the computer port's at.
I love how dorky we are, because this is like, he has been arguing about this for 2 days. He is really adamant about this, and I love it because he got me looking yesterday.
Me off, man.
And he's right. He's right.
Well,
they broke canon. Just because they make something look all glitzy and glammy, and then you got all the frickin' normies in the frickin' theater clapping at awkward frickin' moments where you shouldn't be clapping.
You're talking about with
yes,
Rise of Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I don't remember this scene in The Mandalorian.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Something triggered me.
It's cool, dude. I completely missed it, but yeah, now that you mention it, you're right.
Well, you see, the thing is, it was like a disc that she puts in. And not only that, it was a disc she puts in that he reads, and then there was never that loading. The loading thing was never on there ever.
Right.
Ever. And I saw that. I'm like, that. When did that happen? That was a perfect opportunity to keep it as old school as 77. The first time we ever saw him take that. But no.
Oh,
well, kind of like they put back on the round dish, right? Right.
Yeah,
there,
I know.
But
I thought that was great.
That thing was destroyed, but it was destroyed. So it's like, why did you do it? Just leave the square one now.
In their head for free.
Yeah, we are, man.
You know why they did it. You know why they did it.
Because everybody in the fandom menace about it was saying, "Hey, what the hell?
Why did you have to just go make it a square one? Why put a square peg where a round hole once was?
That whole movie was we're in your head, but they couldn't understand what we meant. It's people that don't know how to make Star Wars trying to answer our questions. That's what whole movie was.
It was new math people trying to explain old math.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, really good way of putting it.
All right. So,
you mean Common Core? Is that what you're mentioning?
Don't talk about it. I got to learn that.
Okay.
Yeah, that Common Core stuff, it doesn't prepare kids for college because they don't use that.
None of it does. I never believed public school ever. Yeah, we're not going to get on that.
Anyway, back to Star Wars.
7. Episode 7, Mandalorian. What were your first thoughts, Bear?
I liked it. Basically, I thought it was interesting that Krieg contacted Mando and basically wanted to make some kind of deal and all that to basically take out the client.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I thought the force healing scene was interesting.
But we've known that since almost episode 2 that he was
Yeah.
going to do that. We
did.
Yeah.
We did.
But he used it a little bit more in this one, and he was allowed to finish.
And I think it's also the timing of it, right,
Yeah,
Bear?
I don't think he ever got started with the Mandalorian. It's just
No, it was a little.
Was
He
it?
noticed. If you go back and look, he was sort of oozing a little,
okay.
and then after that, he wasn't.
Okay.
It's you can almost like pretty much miss it, but it's like a split second. You can
Keep
see
talking. I will be right back. Okay. You go ahead, Bear. Keep talking. I'll be right back. I have to go turn the water off. I think one of my toilets is running, so I'll be right back.
So, he goes out and seeks Quill out for help. I like the Quill character, and I think if they kill that character off, I think they're doing a major disservice because Quill is the most interesting character.
He knows the most.
In the
Yeah,
show.
I'll agree with you with that. I think one thing is if they actually do kill him, I'm actually fine with that because it actually introduces a level of stakes into the episode or into the series at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I hate that they picked him to kill, but he is the one that was going to give us answers, and now they offed him, and I think they did that for a reason, so we don't learn too much too fast because he had a lot of knowledge of what the Empire used to do.
Right.
I go ahead, Bear.
What'd you guys think of the fighting scene?
Where they just lit them up.
No. In the beginning, when the Cara Dune is connected with the other guy and they're fighting in a boxing style, a fist boxing.
Yeah, it's like old school Bear.
Yeah.
We talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah,
it's
it
like that
reminded me-
old school. Yeah,
It reminded me of the old fist fighting matches that was in New York in the late 1800s.
Yeah,
that they would
back
do
in
on
the
like a
boroughs.
barge.
And
Yeah,
here's the thing
yeah.
too, because it's who it is. I have absolutely no problems with that scene whatsoever,
Agreed.
because the fact that she's an ex MMA fighter. It didn't look unrealistic. It wasn't ridiculous. She's a pretty beefy woman who can obviously hold her own. So I thought that was it's not like you had this twig beating up a guy twice her size.
And
She
she
is
took
no
a lump
twig.
here and there.
Yeah,
too.
she did.
She is no twig, man. She's not a small woman.
She's a stout woman.
She's a
No,
stout,
she is woman. Hear
strong,
me
and-
roar, baby.
Yeah.
She's also a good-looking woman, and she got a good sense about her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we
And
talking about
I-
the
what I-
fight that she had with the
the big-
Mandalorian?
That
No,
fight.
No,
yes.
the fight she had at the beginning of this episode,
and
where she's like chained
and
up.
I'm with Comics on it. I liked it because it was more than just nostalgic. It had a sense of history in fist boxing matches and stuff like that. And so it kind of took me back to that. And I don't think that was a bad thing. I don't think it was a distraction because there's been fist boxing matches in there from beginning of time. It's one of those things that always happens, and people bet money and all that. It's a social thing.
This goes back to
core.
kind of that scene. Kind of reminds me of going back to what the pod racing was. It shows a real world about Star Wars because bar brawls like that, especially overseas, even to this day, they have them on purpose. They bet money on people fighting in the bar. You've seen in like Bond where he'll have the Scorpion and he'll be doing shots. You see it in Indiana Jones. This isn't just fake stuff. This is stuff they really do overseas. And this type of thing in Star Wars grounds it. Pod racing and betting and pod racing grounded Star Wars as this is real. This is kind of a real world type thing. It's stuff everybody can relate to. Different from in The Last Jedi, where you had Canto Bight, which was didn't even feel like a real casino. It felt too flashy. Everything felt too flashy when they did that.
Yeah.
They really missed the mark. I mean, I don't think Canto Bight needed to be in it at all.
Well, Canto Bight was his attack on capitalism.
I understand that.
That's how that was.
The thing is,
Shellback's in the green room.
it looked too glitzy.
Right.
So-
No, agreed. It was too much.
Yeah. So,
I can. If I can break in a minute, I can tell you about casinos because this is Washington State.
Well, I
There's
work at
Indian
one.
casinos all over the place here.
Yeah,
And
I
a
live
lot of
actually
them-
5 miles
A lot
from
of
one.
them
Not
are
even.
really nice.
Yeah.
And you know what? it's not 5-star looking like that. They
No.
got 5-star gambling rooms in casinos that look
Mhm.
nice like that.
That was like a Monaco.
Yeah,
you know.
even then,
know-
Monaco isn't all like that either.
Yeah, even in Vegas, some of the most glitzy casinos
They're just
don't
small areas
look like that. It looks presentable. It looks nice.
Mhm.
It's got ambiance and got a little bit of atmosphere. It's got dim lighting in places.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Again,
That
they were.
Canto
It's
bite
the
wasn't really. It wasn't
it's the
realistic.
capitalism. They're all wearing 3-piece, dinner wear and suits and tuxedos. He was going for the extravagance.
Yeah, but that just I think that was not that it
sucked.
needed to be there to begin with, but it missed the mark for what they were even trying for. I think. But,
So let's get back to
that's the funny
Mandalorian.
thing too. If you delete the Canto Bite scene, it doesn't affect the movie whatsoever.
No, it doesn't, because they still don't get anywhere with it.
Now,
At the end
I
of
wanna-
Mystery box.
remember the scene where the yodeling, where Mando and Cara Dune are arm wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the yodeling thought that she was hurting him,
Mm-hmm.
and the yodeling protects Mando.
Yep,
He's
she
got a
throws
loyalty
up the
to
force
him.
choke.
And so, while he was force choking her, he was telling yodeling that she's a friend, and yodeling was shaking his head. No,
Right.
Did you see that?
Yes, that was a
Adamantly,
big
no.
So is she actually not a friend in because the yodeling, okay, on more than one occasion, and Barry, you're one of the first people to point that out to me. In this episode, when the yodeling is messing with the cockpit and he's trying to he's messing, they make it seem like he's just left him alone and he's getting in trouble. But right before that, when he's listening in, he actually sticks his little head down and listens to what they're talking about. And that was him saying, we're not going back to this planet. This thing is I am now definitely sure it's sentient. It understands. It's not just a baby. It understands what's going on.
It was trying to change course.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It really was. Yeah.
No, I agree with that totally. I'm still not sure about Cara Dune. I'm not sure. I mean, I can see that, and yes, I saw what you were talking about, Bear. I saw that.
Yeah, but I agree with Bear. I really think
the
the yodeling gave us a clue.
Yeah, it's a clue. 2 clues actually. He looked down, overheard what they were saying, and then he messed with the navigation or whatever, the controls, and maybe he wasn't familiar with that craft or something. And then the force choke and him saying, no, she's not a friend. Not a friend. And so those are 2 major clues.
That's going to be interesting to see if it actually does play out. Yeah.
And I try to take notes on everything when I'm watching. And it's like I press the pause, take notes. And I'm not the best note taker. And normally I have a notebook that's scrap. And then I rewrite my notes so I can understand them when I go back to them.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can see it, and it wouldn't surprise me if she was, but because the way she handles all of it seems, I don't know. Put it this way: if she turns out bad, they've done a really good job of leaving enough doubt both ways.
That's the beauty of it. It was that slight little nod. I know but it's just it's amazing. Like I didn't realize that until I think Bear said it. It was that slight little nod that he's like, no, she is not a friend. Now I hated that scene because all I focused on was this thing knows how to force choke. Like it should have been more of a, he starts to cry because he thinks the Mandalorian's getting hurt. And then he by accidentally force chokes her, without even knowing what he's doing. This being knows what he's doing.
Absolutely,
like this thing knew how to force. It knew how to force heal. It knew how to force choke. It knew how to stop that mud rhino thing. Like this thing is way smarter than we're giving it credit. And Bear he caught a great little little cue.
Yeah, they did
like stuttering.
A great job of showing that, though. That's
Remind me what I found.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw that. I saw him go down, and then as soon as he went up and the whole place started shaking, I'm like, he did that on purpose, not accidental. This wasn't him playing around up there.
No, yeah, it seemed intentional to me.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm surprised. Here's let's go a little further into this. How much do you want to bet the Mandalorian caught on to that and just is not letting the card out, that he knows that thing knows something's up?
I
Because
actually
he goes
think
up
he's
there.
oblivious.
I don't know, because he goes up there and he starts fixing everything. Just the way he reacts, he doesn't say anything to the kid. He doesn't go off. Like whenever he grabbed the little ball originally, remember, he's like, don't play with that, don't do this. And he said this before, and now he says nothing to the thing.
Yeah, maybe you might have a point there.
He I have a feeling he senses this, and I'm wondering if he senses it from her. I don't know, because if he senses it from her now, I don't know. But Bear, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, that's a good point because he's picking up on something from her, and like Comix Division says, I hope they elaborate on what that is.
I'm
Hope
wondering
they
if
just
you're gonna
don't
let
like
it.
put it aside and then forget about what they ever did. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're gonna get okay. Going as long as we did in this whole series of wondering what the point was, and then to tie it together as well as they did this time, I am feeling in 8 we're gonna get the answer to that question. I don't think she'll die. I think she's a continuing character on the next season.
Same here.
But I think if she does go bad, we're going to find out in 8 for sure. And I could be wrong. I guess you could hold off until next season to prove it and just try to have her play this part a little bit more, because if she's being paid by somebody to get the thing where
Right.
it go,
And that's the thing I have to say is I don't think she's part of the Empire.
no,
I think somebody else is, and it could be that guy who picked up the assassin. You never know. There's something about her that's separate to what is going on in this episode, because she definitely doesn't seem aware that they were going to blow up, shoot up the bar. She doesn't seem to be part of that. It's something separate. So
Well,
there's
I
more than
thought
one group after this Baby Yoda.
I thought it was
The thing
convenient.
is-
Hold on, Shellback. I thought it was convenient that when in the other episode where the assassin tried to shoot the yodeling, I thought it was kind of convenient that she was behind him and there. She was in the right place at the right time, and that doesn't always happen that way.
no. And I mean, there's a lot of things pointing to that it's going to be she's not on the Mandalorian side, but it will seem there'll have to be an answer about why was she where she was, and he just happened to show up, and then she just. I still think that she was sent there because somebody did the math and said this is a remote spot. This is one of the most likely places he'll go to try to hide, and that she's not the only one that was sent to a place like that. There were several places they realized he could go. They sent people out, and because she's even said she's a mercenary now, so we know she's paid for by somebody.
It would have to be like, that's highly. A very small fraction he show up at that planet, so I kind of don't follow that, but I do understand why you're saying it.
It wouldn't be the only place he would go.
Well, I get that. I get that. There's probably more people other places. It's a big galaxy, though. What I think is she was already there, and if she is not a friend, she was already there, helped him with what he needed help with, and realizes that. Someone got to her after the fact. She went to somebody, if she turns out to be bad, because he's worth a lot of money right now. And that baby is too. So,
right.
It's something after the fact. I don't think it was a pre-organized thing. I think it was a post. Yet she does run from him. But I would too, if you thought a bounty hunter was sent for you, you know what I mean? So,
I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that I don't know. I still think we're getting a lot of unanswered questions from this, but we've got a lot more answers now for sure. Let me ask you, Bear, is Krill, is he really dead? Oh, can't hear you. You're muted. Is Krill?
I was coughing, so I muted so you
wouldn't
you're cough in no one's ears.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Quill?
Yeah.
I think it's a mistake for him to be killed off in the show because
he's versatile.
He's versatile. He knows how to do stuff. He's valuable. He's an asset, basically. and I think that he's sort of a linchpin in the story because of his knowledge.
Mhm.
And if they were to kill him off, I think he's the main character.
I
You
think
don't kill off main characters in the
no.
first season.
No, I think he's not dead. I think he's knocked out, and I think he's going to end up. They've left him. They think he's dead or whatever. He's going to get up. He's going to go get the droid and come back, and that's going to be. And then in this case, if Cara Dune ends up being evil or bad or whatever, that might be the tipping point. Is that the thing comes and is able to help, and maybe that'll also be why the Mandalorian then thinks, okay, well, maybe the thing isn't that bad, because I have a feeling that the fact that they brought back the Imperial or the assassin droid, the fact that they brought it back into the story from what seemed to be nowhere, and they've put enough time in that little bit of that exposition of what Quill did with him.
Didn't we kind of think that they were going to do that? They're going to bring it back somehow.
I don't know, but I'm saying
I thought they were at some point.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't think they would. I just kind of left it where it was. He was dead.
No, I figured at some point he was going to come back.
But because they spent that much time on it, this droid is going to be a much bigger part in the coming seasons. I think that's what I think. So, but Shell, how you doing?
All right. They've been billing Cara Dune, Gina Carano, as like one of the good guys the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So I very seriously doubt that she's gonna turn out to be a baddie.
Well, it would actually
one of the theories that I have, because I don't know if I really noticed Baby Yoda, shaking his head no, when Mando was saying she was a friend, but one thing that comes to my mind is that Baby Yoda can sense, can like pick up on her thoughts, and like he can, for lack of a better term, read her mind to the point of knowing like some of the stuff that she's done, since being a shock trooper, because she said herself that she's done some things, and she's a wanted person now, so that Baby Yoda could be picking up on her thoughts from that, and then he's thinking, well, she's not a good guy because she's done bad things or whatever, but they've just been billing her as the good guy, one of Mando's buddies and stuff like that. So I doubt very seriously that she's gonna be like a bad person.
But that would be awesome if they did finally, like a little bit of, I hate the word now, but subversion, they would
subverting your expectations.
Exactly, man. I could never say
nice.
it.
They
like
did really
out of my mouth now.
I think that's I believe that might actually be what they will do, more to the point now, even more so now that they did episode 7 the way they did it, because here we were, all these broken up stories. We're trying to figure out what the hell is the point. The only one I'm surprised they didn't go back and get was the woman that could shoot.
Yeah,
I'm sure she'll make a reappearance later on.
I'm sure of it too, because they spent too much time on that. Excuse me while I take this off.
Also, she's a well-known actress.
Yes.
So one episode, I can't imagine that being it for her.
She has, like she said, she's got a price on her head as well, and so
right. No, Shell, I agree.
It could be very possible that she might be working for somebody who she doesn't particularly want to work for.
Maybe.
But
I could see her like initially supposedly going after him, but becoming friends with him, and turning on the person that's sent her. Yeah. But all I'm saying is, when Bear pointed it out, I went back and looked. And if you watch that scene where Baby Yoda's force choking her, when he says, no, she's my friend, Baby Yoda nods no. He's like, no. Like, and I'm telling you that if that's a clever move, I'd be very happy with this.
Did you see how wide his eyes were when he
show.
was shaking his head? No.
Yeah, no. And I would really enjoy it if that's what it was, because it's like a very subtle nod, like, no, like she isn't. But most people would miss that because of the action of the force choke. So like, I think I need to rewatch that because I completely
missed that.
Hold on. I'll see if I can't.
And it was Moff Gideon. It was Moff Gideon that walked up on Ming-Na Wen's character.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying since the beginning.
Yeah, here real quick, guys. I'll share the screen and we'll watch.
Because they were wearing,
yeah, it's the same type of getup.
The knee-high boots and the cape.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Make sure the sound's killed, Chris.
Oh, sound for what?
Don't let the sound.
They'll
play.
hit you.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We'll just block the sound. We'll look for the. So this is the.
We can do a bad lip reading.
I
gotta prove something.
Come on, you
why is
wimp.
this woman beating me?
I thought Mando's so strong.
You notice the word
choke a bitch.
This bitch right here. Yeah.
Look at his eyes. They're like
watch him.
Wait.
Where's my money? Where's my money?
Hey, whoa. Hold on. Let's watch this. Right there.
Yeah.
Nope.
He goes, nope. She ain't my friend.
Watch this.
It's so subtle.
Yeah. Wait. Watch, guys. Here. Watch.
A little farther back.
Watch Shellback.
Right here. All right.
Watch him. Watch his head. See?
I think I remember seeing that, and I just wasn't sure what to
so
make of it.
subtle.
Yeah,
it's so subtle, But if you take it as what Bear is saying, which I actually do now, because he says it right there, she's my friend, and he nods no. He's like, no, she's not.
Hey,
it's very subtle.
ADHD is my superpower.
Yeah, I know. No, and I noticed that. And the thing is I honestly think that he caught wind of it, watched him doing it. It was the yodeling did it so subtly. I think Quill knows too. I think he does. I think they all kind of got this okay. And now that they've already told the plan and that they were already heading that way, that it was too late, because whoever she's with, either she has a way of contacting them without them knowing it, or they're listening in or something. And he knows that he can't back away, and he has to formulate a new plan without anybody else knowing it and play it off the hip.
I'm sorry, but every time you guys say yodeling, I want like that game on The Price is Right. Yeah.
Oh, the Alpine one. Oh,
yeah.
You can stop at any point in time, Chris.
Oh,
yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm with Comix Division on that.
Sorry.
Oh,
I got cough medicine in me, so that's really weird.
But one of my favorite scenes though was freaking old Apollo Creed, Action Jackson, freaking Grief Karga. When he turned around and freaking blasted his two guys.
That was fast.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah, that was funny part. Like,
now
I was gonna kill you.
That's one good thing. That's one good thing about the whole Baby Yoda force healing thing. Is it freaking made Grief Karga change gears?
Well, it did, but even then, I didn't necessarily believe that he was just going to help the Mandalorian. I think he's like, ooh, what can I get for this thing?
Personally, personally, this whole show I've called what was going to happen next while I'm watching it, except for the last scene where they get the baby. Like everything else, that's why I like this episode so much, because I called everything except for that, and then I was like, ooh, oh my god, they're actually doing it.
They left us with a cliffhanger,
and steaks. We got steaks.
We said that if they do this, connecting two of these together, at least two, I was hoping they'd.
No, we got matrixed.
Well,
Remember
was
what they did in
hoping-
in the second Matrix movie?
Yeah, but
Left us hanging. And we
Yeah,
thought it was the end, remember?
that's okay because I wanted.
I was
I wanted the last.
so ticked off.
Well, I watched.
Dude, I was like, I was screaming at the TV too, Bear. I'm like, well, no,
I
wait a
was
minute.
yelling at the
I was like, keep
theater
going,
screen.
keep going.
I'm sorry, Chris. Go back to what you said.
I was just gonna say that I watched it last night and I was the same way. I'm sitting there. I was trying to pass out at like 1 a.m. and I was watching it, and then it stopped, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And Scott
I
and I
said
had
what
already
several
talked about.
times.
Scott didn't ruin it for me. He just said at the end of this, there's real stakes, and I'm like, holy crap! They did.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Yeah.
ruin it for anybody because
And I
the first
appreciate
time it was good.
But I was like, wow. And the fact that they went to Quill, you think he might be dead or whatever you want to think. The fact
He
that,
better be.
well, I don't want him dead.
I don't want him dead, but he better be dead.
I don't.
You know what I mean? Like I
Why?
didn't want.
People
Because-
people survive gunshots all the damn time.
We don't know if it was.
I don't care about
Yeah.
that, Shellback.
Remember-
I don't care if they
remember-
survive. I want him dead. I want there to actually be a death. I want there to be something where I was like, holy crap, I didn't see that coming.
It's like the whole Agent Coulson thing, you know, the fact
Yeah.
that they brought him back to life, you know, it's like, and
Well,
it's
there's one thing-
awesome when you kill off a good character that people like, because then you're like, fuck, man.
Yep.
I mean, it really adds such a level of stakes, and it makes it real. I mean, did you ever see Serenity? The movie
Yes.
Serenity, that instant Wash dies. I was like, oh my god! It's like
There you go.
At that point, I expected all of them to die. That's what sold it to me, and that's the reason why if they bring Quill back, then it's like it cheapens it.
Exactly. It's like, okay, so why did Game of Thrones become such a phenomenon to normies and geeks and dorks alike? It's because at the end of book one, I'm not going to spoil it, but at the end of book one and at the end of season one, there's such a dramatic death that you're like, holy crap, you're like sucked into it now. Someone you thought would make it through the whole thing. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
They could kill anyone.
it's the emotional
Let
impact
me-
that has on you.
Yeah.
The only
let me
thing that
point
makes
something-
me
Hold on, let me point something out. Okay, what do blasters do?
Cauterize the wound.
They put holes in people.
Well, that
They
too.
go straight through. We didn't see any holes in him.
No, and the other,
No, but he was
Wait,
smoking though.
He was
Yeah.
steaming.
wait.
But his mount, did you see his mount?
Smoking.
It was pretty
Yeah.
much eviscerated.
Yeah, see,
I
I'm
don't think
thinking
he's gonna be dead.
I think
Because
they
otherwise
hit-
Quill would have been a lot more burnt up.
yeah, I think they hit the name of the animal. Help me out here.
blurred.
Yeah, I think they hit the blurg, and or they hit his mount, and it knocked him off, and they thought he was dead, or they're not even.
They at least grazed him. They at
Yeah.
least grazed him because he was smoking like a chimney.
Yeah, and
I thought
they
so,
don't
too.
care at that point. They got the baby. They don't need to kill him if he's.
Yeah, they didn't care.
Funny, the baby's obviously knocked out.
And also, I think IG-11 had something to do with it. So,
You see,
well,
that's
think
possible.
about it. How did Grand Moff Gideon know what was going on? He had no clue what was going on. No one knew what was going on except for him. He knew that the baby wasn't with them. I think it was IG-11 either,
Well, they-
has
It was
some
either,
type
it
of
was either
programming.
IG-11 or Gina Carano's character.
They-
that took him
Right,
off.
Right.
I just thought of
picked
something.
up they picked up their comlink signal.
Yeah, the one time. That was that's
but
separate.
I thought of something else that no one's thinking about. Now, the IG assassin robot.
Yeah.
What is his protocol for when he gets captured?
Blowing up.
He explodes.
Self-destruct.
Self-destruct.
But he's no longer.
Wait a minute.
he's no
That
longer
protocol. Wait a
droid.
minute. That protocol was violated. Now, the corporation that made that assassin robot, they got tracking software on it.
you'd assume.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was
Mhm.
thinking there's some, maybe he didn't, like, yes, his
Maybe
his brain was shot out, that the
To hear
CPU was
Quill-
I know what Quill said. I understand that. He said, and it was all about nature versus nurture. He reprogrammed it because it was damaged. But what's not to say there's a small fragment of a tracking thing, or a small piece of the software that made it through that tells him, like, he cannot deny whoever was his, the person who
From what
paid him to go
from what he
kill
said though, from what Quill said though, he pretty much totally rebuilt IG-11's guts
for the most part.
So, like, to hear what Quill said, it's basically all.
We're losing you there.
He's still got the ability to throw down, but it's gonna be, it's gonna be in defense of Quill and his friends.
Again, Quill isn't all knowing, and maybe there was that little piece that was left over that he cannot, his programming will not allow him to go against. So if the person who paid for him to go kill Baby Yoda says, I need to know where you are, it's one of those things where my programming does not allow me not to lie to this person, or it's a tracking beam. Like Bear saying, there might be a tracking thing on him that he doesn't even realize he's sending back to them that was in his freaking foot. You never know.
Didn't the Empire have their fingers in assassin droid plants making that?
They had their fingers in everything. They took over all those.
Yeah.
So they could possibly be tracking that assassin droid.
Yeah, I need to look it up again, but I don't remember the exact details of why they were built. I don't think I want to say they actually predate the Empire, because a lot of the stuff with droids, it's because of assassin droids going rogue is the reason why they stopped making battle droids, so to speak. But and again, this was all before the prequel series.
Right.
But there's actually reasons why droids typically don't I won't say have rights, but don't go around shooting people. And it's like you have IG-11,
like that first law.
Yeah. You have IG-11, and then you have that one older protocol droid that were both bounty hunters in Empire.
Right, the one that kind of looks like C-3PO.
Yeah, except the head's different.
Right. Now, the only thing I could also say real quick is that the only reason I think IG-11 might have something to do with it, he was, and it goes to what Shell was saying, he was programmed now to serve and protect. Well, the back of that ship opened up. He had access to protect Quill, and he didn't protect him. Well, I was assuming when that back door opened, he was going to come out guns a-blazing and kill those guys. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's true too. I think
he might not have, had time. He might have just been sitting there like, inactive or, on low power mode or something like that.
We could speculate all we want. And, all I know is
because Quill dropped the door, right? He dropped the ramp, and he was headed for it, and then of course he got hit. Now it's very possible that IG-11 saw things go down, but he didn't have time to react.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I can understand. It could be either or.
One thing I do envision seeing is IG-11 coming in like the cavalry and lighting up the death troopers and all that outside the cantina.
Yeah, but remember here. Wait, I'm gonna point out something.
She has a grenade.
Wait. Listen. You're forgetting something. That that the Mandalorian tells Quint, or
it's a thermal detonator.
He says, "Go back to the ship and set the droid for." He gives him a protocol that he wants him to set him for. He didn't make it to the ship, so right now that droid may not have been programmed to do anything. We don't know. I mean, there's both sides. Again, they're doing a really good job of saying, well, wait a minute, what about this? But what about this? What about they've done a very good job on both sides to say it could be this way, it could be this way, and you don't know. And that's probably one really good thing about episode 7 here is that they gave you a lot of choose your own adventure things to think about. Like if you've ever been in one of those choose your own adventure books when you were like 13.
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
You always would read that, that last 2 paragraphs, because within that last 2 or 3 paragraphs were the real answers that you needed. And it was always very touchy. So I think that the chances that the droid isn't the one that did it are just as good as the chances are that he did do it.
That's what I'm saying too.
I'd like let me point something out. With when Mando contacted Quill, they immediately switched scenes to the speeder bike troopers, and they were listening.
Yep.
Yes, they were.
And they immediately took off. Man, those speeder bikes are freaking fast.
Yeah, how the hell did they know where he was?
Well, here's the thing.
They locked in on the signal location.
Yeah, the signal location from there. Because but here's the thing.
A triangle. Oh, whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
Triangulated.
listen.
It's a Star Wars thing.
Yeah, it is a Star Wars thing.
But that I don't know.
We're also kind of missing a point here too. There's a third option with the droid and Quill, or all of that. The droid may have shot at Quill to make it look like it was trying to help the speed bike, the troopers on the bikes, to offset the belief that there was anything wrong, that they could get the baby, they could go back, and it could be a strategic or a tactical thing, because maybe, again, droids do things analytically. He's thinking, I have to protect this guy because that's what I'm going to do now, because that's how he's programmed now, supposedly. And right now, the only way I can see to do that effectively is to make it look like I'm attacking him.
Interesting.
I'm a crazy person. I come up with crazy ideas. Shellback turned on. See, that's why I did that. But I kind of thought that too. I was like, I don't know. There's a lot. I have to give it to him with this episode. I have to give it to him with this episode, that this episode leaves a lot of interesting open holes for good reason too. I hope Taika TW. I'm hoping TW can pull this.
I don't trust him.
I know it's like he's a wild card.
He attacked us, man. He attacked us.
I know.
I don't respect that guy one bit. I don't care if he was joking around or not. He attacked the fans. You don't attack the fans.
What if you get an 8th?
I stand with Scott on that.
That's really good.
Oh, I could separate the. Okay. I still don't want him doing any more of them. I don't like the man. He disrespected a lot of fans that were not being snarky with him. They weren't trolling him. They were just saying they were being actual fans, just asking questions, and he was a prick.
Yeah, he was big and dick.
Yeah, I may not like the guy, but I will say this: he is a good voice actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is.
God, yeah.
And I would say he's also a competent director as well.
Ragnarok was done well.
Yeah, despite me not liking it, it was done well.
Oh, you mean Planet Hulk?
Exactly.
Yeah, Planet Hulk. That wasn't Planet Hulk. Yeah.
You mean Guardians of the
Planet Hulk in all but name.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing about him is that he's a I don't know. A lot of this is going these directors and stuff, whether or not, like you said, Spork, if he was joking or not. A lot of these people are just trolling to troll because they think it's a cool thing to do right now.
Yep.
And then when people call them out for it, then they want to be like, oh, well, no, I don't mean it like that. I mean it,
Oh, he was blatant though. I'll destroy the Mythos baby. I'll do this. I'll do that. He was
I made a few videos on it, I think.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't know. So what do you think we're going to get from here? So episode 8, let's just kind of look forward and let's look forward to this in a way of what type of conclusion do we get at the end of episode 8?
Well, I think they're going to start off where Quill's hanging on by a thread.
Okay.
God, I hope not.
And he's gonna narrowly escape dying.
Well, we lost Carl Withers. I mean, that's one person that died. There's actual stakes there, unless he ends up standing.
Was his character killed? I don't remember.
No, his character wasn't killed.
Yeah, it was the client that was dead, not him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's alive. Everybody's alive. I was so hoping when Baby Yoda was face down, it was dead. I was like, oh my God, they did it. And they did it.
No. Yeah, we can count on the Krieg character now being that the Yoda child. Don't want to trigger Shell here.
Yoda.
And so I think the fact that he
talking to
The
you
war
down there.
face.
I'm
that he
talking to
healed
you
Krieg.
down there.
Krieg has been won over, and I think Krieg
Yeah.
will do whatever he can to help that child because
Look,
saved his life.
we know they're going to get out of the bar. She has that detonator. She has the one that Leia
big-ass
had
gun,
in
yeah.
Return of the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the thermal
the
detonator.
actual detonator.
It's a
Thermal detonator. Thank you.
detonator.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She has that. They'll blow out a back hole in the place. Maybe IG-11 comes in guns a-blazing. Maybe he doesn't.
No, don't.
Um,
do it.
But the whole
But
the whole thing with the thermal detonator, man, those supposed to be those are nasty grenades. I mean, they're like
Yes, they are.
it's like they're like pocket nukes almost.
Yeah.
Like, don't they take out
Pretty
like a
much.
city block?
Yeah, it's one of those things like you don't just throw it and run. It really is kind of that last ditch effort.
Right.
You can I think you can set them on timers, but yeah, they have an enormous blast radius, and it's like if you ever played the Weston games, it's like a almost like a 12 die grenade. It's
damn.
nasty. Yeah, it's 8 or
Damn.
12. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, we'll see
So
how
that's-
they
that's
use
sorta
it
like-
in this show.
Okay, so they're gonna
Let's-
get him out.
I want to do a comparison. You know, in T2 where he pulls out his power cell, basically a hydrogen bomb when it's compromised. It was probably like 1/4. It probably the power of 1/4 of that.
T3
Okay.
to do that. And
The T3, yeah, it was T3.
Yeah, T3 and
Don't they do that in a couple of them, like this last one too?
They did it in Woke Fate too.
I
Oh,
haven't
they
seen,
did?
I haven't
Yeah.
seen Woke Fate yet.
I haven't
Oh,
seen it.
so-
Kind,
so
they kind of do it. It's not from the T3. It's from, or it's not. Sorry, T3. I meant it's not from the Terminator. It's from Grace. It's her
Oh,
power
okay.
cell.
Of course, she does it.
Oh.
She's the woman.
Hey,
Save
I
them
heard,
all.
I
I'll
heard
watch
that
it later.
that's the blonde, right? I heard her character was done pretty good.
Yeah, it actually was. Her character I didn't have any complaints with, and they did a decent job of explaining, why she's such a skinny bitch. It's like, okay, you got me sold on that. It makes sense. It's because of her metabolism, and she wasn't Mary Sued out. She could only use her powers in spurts, and it leaves her like really drained. The only thing that was kind of ridiculous was that she needed a drug rather than like a nap and a lot of food.
Right. That's stupid. Like, hopefully they have that drug there where I'm going.
Yeah.
What kind of drug was it?
Sorry, we got off topic.
It was something
Sorry,
that they
Chris.
mixed together in the injector. I don't know. It was dumb.
What was this? What was this?
Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
The movie's
haven't
the
seen
movie's
it.
garbage, man. It's garbage.
So to get back on it, Chris, my feeling
Mando.
is that they're going to get out of that bar. Of course, she might
of course they
throw the detonator towards the death troops. They might do that. IG-11 might come through. They'll end up probably getting Baby Yoda back. There might be another major death. If they do bring back Quill, I feel like they cheapened that last episode. So it'll really, my feelings on this episode will drop a lot.
I hope they don't get Baby Yoda back until season 2.
I'm with you, man. If ever.
Because if they continue to be, build, well, they've confirmed it was ruined by Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, I did a
that
video,
that
yeah.
he's going to be in season 2. I think that if they continue to have him not in Mando's hands at the end of season 1, that it definitely builds up on top of the stakes that they've been working towards. And a lot of my criticisms of this series is handled very well in this episode. They have stakes. They gave the appearance of someone being dead and didn't resurrect him right away, so to speak. It was really well done, and it's like, crap, dude. If you were just doing this the entire time, I would not be complaining.
Right.
Yeah, it's sort of like
I'm
when
with
I
you
said
too.
they need to throw
if,
the dice, and they threw the dice.
They did a really good job.
if they have IG-11 pick up Quill and like administer some medical attention, and he survives, not I'm miraculously, back to, full bore, have him take like a good long healing period. but I won't be upset if Quill survives. And at the same time, I wouldn't be upset or put it past him if he does end up being dead, because Nick Nolte's like just about as old as dirt anyway.
Yeah.
So
I think that put it this way, it's a plus either way you go. It's more of a plus if they do kill him off, but it was a plus because this was a strong actor doing the part, and the part actually had meaning even in its death. I think that he was trying to get the Mando to realize that this droid isn't as bad as he thinks it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if they make the droid okay, that he didn't kill Quill, if he did that, if he did, and if the droid comes back and then they find that he is dead, I think that's going to be that first barrier, because I think that's one thing that they've built way too much into, that I have a feeling since they put so much stake into mentioning it so often, that's going to have to be resolved, which is his hatred for droids. We have,
and you get the reason why he hates droids, right?
Well, I don't know which one is it.
He hates it because of what happened in the Clone Wars.
Well, okay, yeah. I kind of figured that
the droid army came in and freaking
murdered his parents,
wiped out his whole village.
Yes, but I still have a feeling we need to see a lot more of exactly. Okay, he's not the only one who has that issue.
Yeah.
So he had to have had something even more traumatic, I think.
No, man! I think your parents getting murdered by robots is pretty traumatic.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I know that they've shown. He said that he was taken or he was found, but I don't know if we've seen it yet.
No, what they've shown so far is like his parents hiding him away.
Yeah.
Him like reaching out. Then I guess you hear blaster fire. The next thing you see is the battle droid opening up the bin where he was at, and then they kind of cut away. So we don't know why he was saved yet or what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they won't give any more details.
Out.
Okay, yeah, good. You're good. You're
Later,
good,
Scott.
Yeah, my bad, guys.
Later,
Scott. Boys. Take care.
You too.
Hopefully they
let's keep doing this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure, man. Hopefully they won't give any more details until season 2, because that's like one of my major issues I have with the series is I felt like they gave a little too much backstory on him too soon, with him being the man with no name. So it's like I would have preferred a more kind of gradual introduction into who this character is and his backstory with little bitty hints, and then you can get into the flashbacks in like season 2, season 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to. I don't know. I would be okay if they don't get Baby Yoda back. I kind of wonder if that's not where they're going to go with it, because I think that they're going to. I think there's a good chance that they will not get Baby Yoda back. That Cara Dune will continue forward with him, and I think they're going to bring Quill back. I really seriously think they will.
I think they will too. And I will be more forgiving if they, just like mess him up really badly. That would be fine if he's just like out of commission for a while and really wounded. I can forgive it, even though it's more dramatic for him to be dead.
Well, I don't think. Here's the thing. I kind of don't think that they're going to kill him off. I almost wonder that if they don't keep everybody in this together into season 2, I think Cara Dune would be a character that they might kill off. Just because they haven't put and invested as much into her as Quill. There's more invested into him, it seems.
Well, yeah, he's definitely had more episodes. I'm not too sure about what their plans are for Cara Dune.
Yeah.
I always thought going into the series that they knew each other beforehand, and I would have preferred it that way if they were actually friends, and that's the reason why they're allies.
But but you, me, and
Gina Carano's too much of a draw.
I agree.
I agree too. I like her in this series, so I hope they keep her in.
But that's kind of the thing about Nick Nolte too. The way he plays that character, it's an intriguing character to keep around, and he also seems to be the one that can fix and do anything. I thought when Cara Dune said we got to find somebody to watch this kid, I swore to God that they were going to Tatooine and pick up the mechanic.
I thought that too. There was two people I thought was actually it was the mechanic I was thinking.
I want to see her again. I
think they've again. I have a feeling she's in 8. They're going to bring her in
because
8.
The amount of money. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The amount of money that he gave her at the end of that episode, and the look on her face was like, "Whoa, this is way too much." He's going to see her again the next time his ship needs fixing.
Right. And the other thing too that they could do if they do keep Quill dead, or if he is, killed off, that's a good reason to bring her in because she's a mechanic and is very technical, and that's a good way of bringing her character in more often.
And the thing is that's why I didn't think they'd get rid of him when that happened, and they didn't go back to get her. But I have a feeling now with the whole point of these separate stories ahead of time was to introduce, and I think I even said this at one time, that we're setting up characters he's going to meet, and at some point they're all going to come back together. And on top of it, I think now what we're going to see going forward is these people stick together.
Yeah, you've said it. There's several people who have said that, and I don't have an issue with it. I just I think it could have been implemented a little better.
Definitely could have. Like I said, there was lots of things they could have done. They could have gone from one episode to the next episode and tied them together. Like the first part of the next episode would be in the last part of the episode before it. Because one thing, like I kept on saying, is that just these jumps, when he come out of a jump and he was being chased by the one guy trying to kill him in the fighter, we had no context for that. It would have been fine to show us at the beginning or at the end of the episode before that he comes out of hyperspace to go somewhere, and the next thing you know, this thing comes out of hyperspace and he's right there, and they start fighting, and then it cuts. And then the next episode starts where they're still fighting. That type of thing ties and holds that's the fiber that holds 2 episodes together without being completely about each other. One thing I said about the new trilogy is I love all 3 movies. Love's a little strong. Let me put it this way. I like all 3 movies. But what's funny is that there's no real connective fiber between the 3.
But
yeah, I mean, you're kind of right, and that's kind of the nature of like at least the first installment of which is Star Wars, because it really was supposed to be more of a throwback to like Flash Gordon's and serials.
I'm talking about the new trilogy, not.
Okay, yeah. You're absolutely right about that.
The old trilogy and the prequels all have connective tissue.
Yes, they do.
Because in this one, really, the thing about Episode 9 is that when you jump into it, it doesn't feel like it came out of the last one. In Empire Strikes Back, when they're at Hoth, we already know they're on the run. They've won, and the scroll is what normally does it for us. The scroll says, this is happening. This just happened. They just took out the Death Star, and now they're on the run, and they're at Hoth, their base, and they're going through this stuff. And the scroll is a lot of the part that connects the last film and this film.
Yeah.
None of them have really done that great of a job.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the issue with the sequel trilogy is that it's 30 years later, and they need to reintroduce you to the world and the changes that came about. And you get a little bit of that, but not really. And this is where the whole thing with the First Order always irked me, because they had a roadmap that was in the EU that they could have used, which is the whole thing is that the Empire, just because you killed Vader, just because you killed Palpatine, doesn't mean the Empire falls. And it's specifically because of the regional governors and all these things. And in the EU, you had them not only fighting each other for power because they're fighting for succession, you also have the New Republic fighting these remnants of the Empire. The Empire never truly went away. They managed to seize the core worlds, the New Republic did, but you still have these governors out there that were really kind of ruling things. And they were more like warlords than anything else at that point.
And that's the problem with this last movie is that they do basically make you realize that the Empire has been what it is all along.
Yeah.
It's a different name.
What they could have done is they could have had Snoke be in charge of one of these factions. And that's where things could have been, in my opinion, a lot more interesting. But they didn't do it, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Anyways.
Hey, I want to point something out and go back to Mandalorian real quick.
Yeah, no, we need to go back there.
Hey, Comix, you on Friday Night Tights, you and Gary had mentioned something that I thought was interesting, and I pretty much agree with. That some of the episodes seem like they were the pieces from the Boba Fett movie.
Yes, that's correct.
And I absolutely agree with that. And it's the ones that are longer. Was that correct?
Yeah, I said 1, 3, and 7 and 8 are going to be from the actual movie.
Yeah, I agree with that because there's a lot of them I pieced together, and it moves along like a movie. Huh. It does. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell the filler episodes because there isn't any real like connective tissue to what is going on with the greater story arc. And it's like I do like some of the, and this is like one of my major complaints with the series. It's either episodic or it's going to be linear, and it has like ADHD on which ones it's going to be.
Right. I think it's doing both. I think it's doing both. And
it is doing both, and you can do both right. You can have like a greater story arc going on and have it be episodic. But the problem is they didn't set it up right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can see that.
Hey, with that, I gotta bail. I gotta go to the store and grab a few things.
Okay.
Before it gets too late.
Yeah. That's fine. We were gonna try to get this.
But I just wanted to end with that part where some of the episodes that you just mentioned, Comix, was from the movie. Mm-hmm. And I had noticed that, and when I was watching Friday Night Tights, I'm like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Well, bring me back a bag of pretzels. Okay?
With that, have a great night, and have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Later, Sparrow. Have a Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you.
Probably see you sooner than Christmas.
Probably.
Hey,
ho, ho, ho.
Good night.
All right. So,
Later.
Let's do this with you too. We'll keep you here just a little bit longer because I am in control. Wait, let me do that.
I think you're in control.
I am in control. It was me, the ruining of this Jedi. Oh, sorry.
Do it. Do it.
Do it. Do it now. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Still sorry. Mm-hmm. I meant, could you please do it? Okay. Anyways, okay. So, Comix, your impressions of this episode, because we didn't get there. We just started talking about it. But I really want to know what your impression of this episode was.
I liked it a lot. Like I said, I wish the series was more like this episode. You know, it had stakes, it had weight to it. The only thing that really kind of felt McClunky to me was the whole thing with the story about the droid. It's like I felt like it did kind of take you out of the moment. So that's kind of my only complaint. I really enjoyed this episode a lot. I think it was really well done. The one thing I thought was pretty interesting, and it doesn't really stick to canon much, was the whole thing with the TIE fighters and how they actually lowered the wings down. I was like, that was actually really cool to see that.
But we've seen a lot of different TIE fighters over the years, Vader's, and Kylo, and all this different stuff, and they all
that looked more like a standard TIE fighter to me.
It did, and I did really like how they did that. It flattened out, and then underneath the orb is where the feet came out, and that's what held it up. So those went completely flat. It made sense because you kind of always want, they've sprinkled that they can go into the atmosphere. And again, here we are let's talk about the fact that they have problems with atmosphere in episode 9. The ships had a problem with the atmosphere in episode 9 getting out.
That was so dumb. I mean, we'll take out the radio tower. It'll stop them from. Come on, ships got navigation systems. I mean,
exactly. So
that was the dumbest decision that JJ made with that movie. I would say the dumbest. It's one of the dumbest. Yeah.
But the fact that you see how one of those can land, then it kind of lends credence more to the fact that small battalions or small groups can go to a planet and actually, do a mission and explore, go after somebody, but you don't have to dedicate a whole legion.
Well, I mean, they also, I mean, they do have troop transports. I mean, that is a thing. I mean, it's
but this is something like, put it this way, if you wanted to make it really secret and not have a whole ton of people know what you're doing, you do it with this type of thing. It was nice to see that. That's what I'm trying to say. It just wasn't. It wasn't a. I don't know. I think it adds more to what we're seeing.
Yeah,
that it really helped with it. So.
Let's see. I mean, the other thing I liked was the whole battle scene at the tavern was pretty freaking cool. The whole thing with the Death Troopers, and again, that's another thing that Disney repurposed from the EU. It was cool seeing what's his name as Moff Gideon. I can never pronounce his name.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, him.
Exactly.
I love him. He makes such a great bad guy.
He does.
Oh man, but yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed this episode, and quite frankly, it seems like the best episodes so far, in my opinion, have been directed by Deborah Chow.
Oh yeah,
or Cho. Is it Cho or Chow?
I think it's whatever you want to call it. Just don't be totally insulting.
Yeah. So I think she's a phenomenal director, and she is somebody.
I think Filoni's done a good damn job too.
Filoni is great, but so far, I mean, out of all the directors, she's the best. And if they put her in charge of the Obi-Wan series, being the director, which is what I've heard, that gives me a lot of hope for what they're going to be doing with that series. If she is a director of the next Star Wars movie, I am all for that. I mean, she is doing such a bang up job.
I really like what she's done. I don't want Obi-Wan to be a series, but if you're going to give it to anybody, that's the right person.
The X-wing pilots have been the best directors in this series. And that was Deborah Chow, Dave Filoni, and Rick Fuma. What? How do you
is
say
it Rick or Ryan?
name?
I thought it was Ryan.
I think it's Rick.
And I like him too. I liked episode 2 for what it was worth. Just despite having some issues with it, but I think he's a competent director. I just think Deborah Chow is better.
Sorry, my kid was here.
That's okay. You're good.
I mean, I don't want to see that with Obi-Wan, but she's the right person. And here's the other thing: by saying that, Filoni and Favreau are the ones that have come up with a majority of what these are. They just have different directors. So when TW does it, I think it's going to be more their story, and they're going to have the finishing touches, and it's going to be like this. So we know episode 1, 2, and 3 fit together, and 7 has fit together. So 8 probably and definitely should fit into this.
It's Rick Famuyiwa.
Yeah, he's Nigerian, so he has a very difficult last name to pronounce.
Yeah, Famuyawa.
I'm not even trying to pronounce it.
Yiwa. So
put it in a name pronouncer and see what it says. It'll probably curse at you. Go fuck yourself. That's what it says. That's how you say it. So, any other thoughts on it though? Comics?
No, I'd give it a 7.5. It's a great episode. I love it.
Yeah. All right, Jill.
A really high thumbs up.
Okay. How high?
Like as high as I can put my little turtle hand up.
I don't want to know. Take it out. Take it out now. You're going to give yourself too much pleasure doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't say I had it stuck somewhere.
I didn't say that either. What are you thinking? So would you give me some breakdown on it? Give me some breakdown on what you thought.
No, I mean, it was
For Baby Yoda.
no, I'm not really scared for Baby Yoda. But it I don't know if I was and I don't know if I was surprised that, you saw him and Quill, laying on the ground face down, but I don't know. I'm not really worried about Baby Yoda's demise.
Oh, so you're
But
okay
I
with him
just
killing him?
all I know is I'm more invested, and by a very sizable margin. I'm more invested in this TV series than I am the entire sequel movie trilogy.
I have watched a couple of these episodes more than I've watched The Last Jedi. If that says anything to you. Because I've watched The Last Jedi from beginning to end a total of like maybe 4 times. Uh-oh. Where'd it go? So yeah. We're just
Lost
dropping
Comics.
off. We'll see if he comes back. So what are your hopes for the next episode?
What happened? Dude, I mean, I've kind of liked them all. I mean, this episode 7 would, I mean, if I had to list them, would probably be, on the top of the list, just because I was like, at the end, I was like, no, wait, it's like, it can't be over yet,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I really haven't had any major gripes with the season on a whole,
Oh yeah, no, I haven't either. I mean, I think that they needed to figure out that the direction they were going. That's about my only problem that's ever been, is it was so cut up. And then they did this one, and it's kind of what I said before. If they fix it all, and one of the last 2 or both episodes, and they did that, they addressed it in 7 immediately and said, "Here's why we did that. It was an introduction to all these characters, and now he's going to go back. He's going to grab these characters, and we're going to move forward." And I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was great that they did that, and it answered my questions. There's a few open-ended questions still, but that's how it is. So,
but yeah, I mean, I really liked how, Carl Weathers, Grief Karga, I like how he, had a changed his tune, after healed by Baby Yoda.
he returns.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I lost internet for a brief moment.
Something else, that they got attacked by, in the cave or whatever. But was that they, a bite or a scratch or whatever, from them was like toxic or poisonous or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah, that reminds me, that was a really good scene.
It was.
Karga, had this look on his face like, I'm gonna die, and that, and I think one of the other characters said something along the lines of, he's not going to make it until morning, or like they said something that this just made me think that this scratch or whatever that he got was somewhat toxic or poisonous. So
right. And that was another
but,
scene that really kind of
he's
added
like,
weight
oh,
and
this
stakes to
thing
what
just
was
saved
going
my
on.
life, so now I gotta.
And I mean, like I was saying just before you came back on Comics, the one thing, and I said that if they brought it all together in the last 2 episodes, that I'd look back on the other episodes much better. And they did do that. They answered everything as, okay, now we know it was introductions, and now we see why they did it the way they did it. It made sense to me. I'm with you. They could have done it better, but I'm just really happy they did it that way. It feels better now. I'm not waiting now. I actually see, okay, they took a really long way around, basically getting us back to him coming back to kill off whatever the client was. And we know that Carl Weathers' character, we were like, I was with you too. Just the fact that they started it out like that was interesting. That he was really down to earth about how he approached it. He's like, well, I figure the only way to do this is have you come back with the baby. And yes, we all kind of felt that this was just a ploy. I'm pretty sure Mandalorian figured it out, even though he acted like he was like, what? He was kind of surprised that he heard about that when he killed off the other 2 guys and all that. I don't know. I have a feeling that the Mandalorian knows a lot more about what's going on than he
is letting on.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the subtle clues that the baby Yoda, the yodeling, has given him, the shaking his head. I think every time when he looked down, like you mentioned, when he was looking down from the cockpit, when he was upside down and looking down, I think the Mandalorian saw him. I think that I think he understood all of this because, again, I point out the fact that when he screwed with the navigation and stopped him and stuff, he didn't act like it was anything wrong. He just went back to casually put everything back in place and go.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
That's not how he's been about his ship. His ship, anytime it's been screwed with, he's not happy about. You've noticed this.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too that this series kind of suffers from, it's the exact same thing that's been going on with like the Marvel Netflix shows. It's like you really could have trimmed them down to like 6 rather than like 8 or 10.
Yeah, and
it's the same thing here. If they just made this like 5 episodes, following the storyline, I think it would have been fine. The problem is that they try padding it out a little bit, and yeah, it's like you get introduced these characters along the way, but they could have done a little bit better of a job of doing that.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think that's absolute. And there goes Shellback.
Terrible internet connections tonight.
Yeah, so it's everybody's on. So it's that time of year. So I'll just say that my opinion of this was just absolutely. This was the way that they had to do this one. I feel now that there was at least some connectivity. There's a reason. I don't feel the lone gunman blues or the lone gunman lag anymore, because I really was getting into that feeling that this is lagging. This is so.
I think because of the direction that they went with this season and the fact that it's pretty apparent that they were using the Boba Fett script. I think season 2 is going to be a lot better than what we've been seeing with season 1.
And there he is again. Yeah, no, I think season 2. Yeah, I know. I think that season 2 will be a lot more formed and constructive because obviously in this they had enough there to go with the overall plot. I'm not sure that the Baby Yoda thing would have been in the Boba Fett movie.
I don't think it was. I think it was added by. It was actually added, I believe, by Kathleen Kennedy.
Probably. Now, with that said, I think once they've gotten all the major introductions of our major characters, and of course we just got the Moff into this one, Grand Moff
Gideon.
He's not a Grand. He's just a Moff. He ain't
just
Grand.
Moff Gideon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Moff Gideon's in this, and that means an 8 will get more of him. Now we've met most of the major characters we're to have in play. So we can go into season 2 knowing who the players are, most of them. There's still some out there. We'll know most of them, and you can continue with an actual cohesive, connective story. I do kind of get the feeling, though, the longer we go in this, that the MacGuffin, the Maltese Falcon, whatever you want to say, the whole point of all of this, even though the Mandalorian, and that's the name of the thing, I still think it's going to be Baby Yoda. This is going to be the hot potato. Now that they've let him not be with the Mandalorian for 5 seconds, not really been. He's in the hands of somebody else now. That's only the second time that's happened.
Right.
So I have a feeling that that's the hot potato. That's the MacGuffin. It's going to always be the case. And I wonder if they're not going to hold that off for another few episodes going into season 2, just to give it movement.
Here's what I want. I want a longer season, at least 2 more episodes, if not 4. Or I just want a longer season, and yeah, I mean, like, I want a longer season, and at least maybe less directors. Like have less directors doing more episodes.
I'm good with that. The other thing I'd like to see would be consistent episode length, and I think we'll probably see that in season 2. I think they'll probably average about 40 plus minutes. And honestly, they can go to a full hour because this is streaming. This isn't TV. They don't need to add commercials, so they can go the full hour. Why not do that?
Yeah, but on regular TV, with commercials,
I know it's not.
An
it's not regular TV.
Show. I know, but an hour-long show is actually, you take out all the commercials, and it's more like 40-ish minutes.
It's about 44 because they 30-minute episode is typically 22 minutes. So you have 8 minutes worth of commercials.
So, I mean, if they stay like in a 40-minute, ish, that would be good,
I would be fine with that, but I think it could definitely benefit from going an hour. You do have the ability to go and expand on more things. And that's kind of my issue with like the shorter episodes, the ones that were like 30 some odd minutes, is that they didn't do enough to explain what was going on. It's the reason why, like in episode 5, why the relationship felt so
if you
forced.
if you cut off the the previous previously, and all the like if you actually took the episode,
the recap
in those half 30 some odd minute ones, it was only about 24, 25 maybe minutes of actual episode.
One thing I do have to give Disney credit though for is that you can pass that up. You can pass that up in the intro. I do like that little that they have. I don't know if Netflix does that now.
Yeah, they do. You can bypass like the intro.
I don't know. I haven't really had Netflix for a long time.
Yeah, when I was like binge watching The Expanse, they definitely had that there.
Yeah. So, well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. We've been on for almost an hour and 30 minutes. It was just kind of rushed today. So everybody that's watching, I greatly appreciate you guys watching it. And much like Scott said, and I think that what we'll do is, as soon as we're done with episode 8, we'll kind of see what the timeline is just for the season 2, and maybe we'll meet a couple times on and off during the off time and talk about a little more expansive about the whole first season, and then kind of talk about our hopes for the second season. And as the second season's about ready to start, we'll do another one.
What we should do is do like a full season recap after.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. That would be the first one after this is all over. But again, guys, and the rest of the guys aren't here to talk about this, but I think we've got a really good streaming thing going on here. I know a lot of other people are doing the Mandalorian stream, but I think hopefully you guys agree that the concept of how we do this is pretty darn good, I think, because we're getting a lot of good opinions. We know Shellback loves Baby Yoda, and we know
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that at all.
Hey, us green folks, got to stick together. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. No, but I really have appreciated all of you guys that have been on. It's on my channel, but I really, if I had done this with just me and maybe one other person, or just me giving the breakdowns, it's nowhere near as expansive and deep when you get a bunch of fans on. And again, that's the cool thing about this. This is Star Wars that fans are excited about. And even when they're doing something wrong, we're not outraged by it, because they're not doing anything to us. They're just, honest to God, I have a really good feeling that Favreau and Filoni are listening.
I think they are too.
I don't know if they're watching this stream.
Well, it's just just blatantly. They're not blatantly, saying, "Hey, look at this because girl power," or "Look at this because of whatever." Insert whatever here.
Insert identity politics. Yeah.
I mean, they went. They had Gina Carano going toe to toe with the Mandalorian himself. They had her in a freaking like a Fight Club thing there, in that I don't know, cantina, I guess, place, So I mean, but the thing is, which I don't know. I mean, they they're not like, oh, look at her, look at the girl power and stuff. The one thing they did right, and which probably makes it a little bit better for us fans, is the fact that they took a woman who was a legit mixed martial arts fighter.
Yes.
In
somebody who
real,
was not
in
a
real
twig.
life, yeah. And like she's like a legitimate freaking ass kicker in real life.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
and that's the thing that always bothered me about the whole thing when we complain about women beating up men twice their size, and they're like, oh, well, you're sexist because you say that. It's like, no, man, it's just not realistic. Now, when you get an actor like Gina Carano, who has the size and has the ability and the background, I can believe it. When she's being of a dude,
she's still not that big, but she's a freaking
she's pretty beefy. She's thick. I mean. I'm not a big dude. I mean, if she was to punch me, she'd put her fist through my skull. It's a lot more believable for her to beat up bigger dudes because she herself is, she's thick.
Mm-hmm. It's believable, but no, I think Filoni and Favreau are listening to all these things.
Yeah.
Again, maybe not this stream, but the many streams that are out there, the many different people reacting or reviewing these things. They're watching. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Mm-hmm. According to Google, Gina Carano is, she's 37 years old.
He's sizing her up.
She was born April 16th, 1982, Dallas, Texas. So she's a Texas gal. And
Texas represent.
She is 5'8" and 143 pounds. According to Google. 5'8".
5'8".
And how much? And how
143. So she's a couple inches taller than me, and
she's got some muscles.
She's got muscle. Yeah.
But she's not. She's not one of the. See, I'm not a guy that likes a lot of muscles on a woman, but she doesn't have too many. I mean, she looks good as she did.
Oh no, yeah, she's definitely put together correctly.
Yeah.
Shellback's like sitting there going like, yeah.
Yeah. And here's another thing too. As someone who has a martial arts background, there are ways for, skinnier women to be able to take down men, and it's not what they do in the movies. It's there are ways, but yeah, it's
like judo and whatnot.
well, my martial art is Kempo, and
Kempo,
the whole thing is it's a self defense art, and it is designed for people who are smaller to be able to take on much larger opponents and multiple assailants at that. And you know, I've worked with several females in my class, and you do the stuff right, and it works. But you're not going to be able to flip a 300-pound dude.
No. Well, actually,
but if you blow out his knee,
exactly. If you blow out his knee, stop his foot, there's lots of things you can do to hurt somebody.
But like I was saying though, is I think Favreau and Filoni are listening to the fans. I think they're really listening, and I think we're going to see, even though they're shooting currently, I think we're going to see a lot of what people have said reflected, properly reflected in the next season. And I say properly reflected because Rise of Skywalker obviously is because they were listening. They listened, they heard, but it was too far, and it was too far gone, and there was too much to repair.
Yeah, and
they took basically, I've told people, and I've read enough about it, that the George Lucas trilogy that he had set up, that's basically what we got with Rise of Skywalker. His didn't have the Emperor, but that's primarily what the trilogy was. And this was just a shorthand Cliff Notes version of it.
Yeah. And apparently, I like how they had, Luke and Leia, Force Ghost Luke and Leia, all smiling, when Rey's like decided to call herself a Skywalker.
I laughed because this was all drunk 3PO's fault, because he's like, hey, look, it's Space Mary and Space Joseph. And I started laughing when I saw that in the theater.
That's kind of sick from 3PO, really. Drunk 3PO basically said that sister and brother were married.
No, but it's just like, if you actually look at them, it's like it's Space Mary and Space Joseph.
Yeah, it does invoke a
I'm ruining your joke, dude.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I will start my this week will be streams, not streams, but it will be videos on the 3 movies, and then on Thursday I will give my impression of the trilogy as a whole, because I promised people that I was going to hold out on this before reserving judgment completely until the trilogy was completed, because that's how I've done all the other ones. And I will come up with my answer for exactly where I think this was, what I liked, what I didn't like, and my final say on everything will be on Thursday. So guys, if you're watching this, do watch. That's what my week's going to be. So
Here's my deal, and one of the reasons why I'm like a Filoni fan is Dave Filoni gave us a way to fix this entire sequel trilogy.
They did?
Yes.
How?
The world between worlds.
Okay, I can buy it. I also like Dave Filoni because he actually made me like Anakin Skywalker as a character.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's very true. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and do our outro here, and thank you for coming on. Everybody out there in the chat land, thank you for watching today. Remember to watch this week on the Real Review 3000, where I will give you my breakdown of each of the new trilogy movies, and then I will give you my final say on this trilogy. And I know a lot of people are probably going to want to tune into that, because a lot of people think I'm crazy with the things I say about this trilogy. So,
all right, I've got my tomato at you. So,
that's perfectly fine.
Hey, man, even Chris Stuckman walked back his thoughts on the first 2 movies. If you watched his latest review.
Oh, well, I'll have to check that out, but I will give you guys my opinion. Comics, Shellback, thank you very much for being on here. Thank you to Bear, Shaun was on for 5 seconds. Thank you, Shaun. And Sporking News Podcast, Scott, he was on. And I think that's it today.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Next week when we do episode 8, I believe we might end up doing it in kind of a round robin style. I'll try to get Mike on here, Stig on here. We'll try to have all of us in the back room and kind of try to jump through and give a breakdown of the episode and talk about all of that we can. It might be a little bit longer than normal, but hey, we can do that. So guys, thank you very much. And everybody have a good night. This is Chris Knight. This has been the Real Review 3000. Goodbye.
Hey guys, thanks for checking us out. Be sure to subscribe to both channels and make sure to check out our friends in the Fandom Minutes. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and BitChute. And you can also send us an email at Shaun@ShaunStackhouseReacts.com and Chris Knight at TheRealReview3000.com. And be sure to swing by our Teespring store to pick up some awesome merchandise.